Hello and welcome back to another episode. I need no introduction, I have no introduction. My name is Lord Belmont Shores. This week I will be reviewing another film strip for these fine folks. This one, of course, is entitled The Brides of Dracula. While this does not star Count Dracula as the head vampire, we do see the return of a former colleague of mine, someone who has pretty high estimation of himself, and Abraham Van Helsing. Now, this does not ruin the movie. I do urge you to pay close attention because you will pick up some very valuable things. This week's drink is our version of a blushing bride, which we call a blood-gushing bride. Now remember, when making this drink, only use real champagne that is made in the Champagne region of California. Let the hate mail flow. Alright, so let's get right into it here. We got this girl on the worst Uber ride possible. This guy is not getting 5 stars no matter what he does. She leans out the window and is like, slow down, slow down.
Not so fast, please. Not so fast.
Of course he doesn't, because this guy's like 14 Red Bulls deep. He's been working since yesterday. He just wants to make another $12. This guy's driving the carriage so fast that he almost drifts it.
Sliding the carriage sideways.
To my knowledge, I was the first person to try to move like that, where they actually drifted the carriage sideways.
What, you know that? Or you have documentation on that?
I said to the best of my knowledge. I have not looked it up because if I did, then I would know. And sometimes not knowing is knowing. Now see, knowing whether you want to know or not know is half the battle.
As you're traveling alone, you better get back to the coach. My lads will have fresh horses between the shafts in a trice.
But
what I mean is you don't want him to go without you.
Oh, but you won't. The coachman knows I am here.
I know he does, but he'll want to get away as soon as...
That is not the first red flag this girl's blown by. She gets inside the bar, right? Everybody's looking at her weird. You're like, oh, you're a French teacher. You're going to wherever. Oh, you better get the hell out of here. Your ride's going to leave. Anybody tells you your ride's going to leave, you probably want to take a look at that.
Wine.
If you're anybody who thinks they're in trouble, you go up to a bartender and you order an angel shot. And I guess this is code for like, call the police, I feel uncomfortable. And just to let you know something, I'm old as fuck. Which means if I know what an angel shot is, the guy next to you who you're afraid of knows what an angel shot is. And he's gonna fucking kill you the minute you say angel shot. So you gotta figure out what the new term for angel shot is real quick and use that.
I'm the Baroness Meinster. My castle is in the hills just above the village. Please give me the pleasure of being my guest tonight.
I should be more than grateful.
Let us waste no more time then.
Also, don't go home with strangers. I mean, this woman's got some breeding and class, and she's going to take you to her big castle and get you to work in the morning. Oh my God, that's the worst pickup line ever. I'll make sure you get to work on time tomorrow. Whatever. So this woman, she's a French teacher, and she's on her way to this all-girls school, which, if you ask me, that sounds like a monster smorgasbord for monsters. It's like leaving out sugar for flies. Of course monsters are going to be drawn to this. There's no better place for a monster to go to get the best victims than an all-girls school. They're all in one place, they're full of blood, and they're probably virgins. I mean, mostly. It's like when you buy those heart-shaped candy boxes, and it's an assortment of all the different kinds of candies you could possibly get. That's what an all-girls school is like for a vampire. I mean, you get all the different flavors in one. I'm not gonna say anything rude or crude about a bunch of underage ladies at school.
Full of blood, and they're probably virgins.
You better have some serious defenses up.
Aren't you having any soup?
I have very little appetite.
The French tutor seems to go back to the castle with Baroness Meinster. We come to find out that there's a vampire living in the castle. He's a young man. Probably fell in with a bad crowd. You know the type.
I can't come to you.
But it's inhuman.
My mother thinks of me as inhuman, doesn't she?
Baroness Meinster is just bringing girls home for her son to snack on. This is a very good example of how vampirism breaks up families and destroys communities.
Exactly. And I am Baron Meinster. I must apologize for not having called before, but I have been recovering from a long illness. I wouldn't have come today, except that I had some pressing business to discuss with Mademoiselle Danielle, who has just consented to become my wife.
Later that night, she's hanging out with her friend, another teacher in the school, talking about, I just got engaged. And that girl's like, I wish it was me instead.
And with such wonderful eyes, such tenderness in them, and humor, too. Oh, I must be careful. I'd be falling in love with him myself.
I shan't allow that. Oh, the toast.
This girl's so thirsty she can't toast. Burns her bread, almost burns the damn room down, and the other girl's like, bitch, too thirsty to toast. I'll go get you some more bread. Her fiance comes in the room, hits that shit, and makes it a vampire. And you know what? This movie shouldn't even be called The Brides of Dracula. No Dracula, no brides. It should be called The Fiancé of Meinster and the Two Side Pieces. And his mom. And the nurse. But I mean, basically you've got the fiancé and the two side pieces. That's it. There's no brides. Nobody's getting married here. Let's be real.
And I am powerless. Powerless. Perhaps I can help. Who are you? You sent for me, Dr. Van Helsing. Oh, thank God you've come. Thank God.
So let's talk about the golden boy, Van Helsing. This guy gets all the breaks. I'm not even going to give Van Helsing the credit for this one. I'm going to give the credit to the priest. You know why? Because he saw something and he said something. And as we all know, if you see something, say something. And of course he called Van Helsing. Van Helsing just killed Dracula. Oh, Dracula. Why does everybody always fawn over Van Helsing? I mean, he meets this doctor, right?
My dear Dr. Van Helsing.
And I thought for sure he was just going to put his hands up and be like, Van Helsing, man.
You're a most obedient servant, always. Thank God you've come. Thank God.
He was a total Van Helsing head. It was crazy. I don't know about you, but I think the gravediggers were definitely in on it. The union for gravediggers specifically states that you got to put them 6 feet under. Even if you're going to do a sloppy job, you're doing overtime, you're trying to skim a little bit, you're going to put them at least 4 feet down. At least 4 feet down. They had to pay somebody off for that. I don't know if they were familiars. I don't know if they were paid off by the familiars. Nobody, and I mean nobody, buries somebody in 6 inches of dirt. You definitely expect them to come back when you're doing 6 inches of dirt.
I'm lieutenant of yours, you young jackass.
You know how rich people stay rich? They don't spend their own money. I mean, take a look at Van Helsing's holy water flask. That's the coolest thing ever.
Will you take this with you? It contains holy water. It may be of service to you.
They just got gifted it to him. Oh, that cross. I mean, we're talking crucifixion dogwood, silver frontage, gifted to him by a priest as a holy relic. I mean, that's like 3 times the vampire stopping power. And he still messed it up. All right, so to wrap it up, thanks for hanging out, watching, I guess. I don't know, I hope you had a good time. I enjoyed it. From an entertainment perspective for Brides of Dracula, out of a 14-point scale, I think this one gets like a solid 8. All right, so for practicality, I'd give it a 4.1 on a 5-fang scale. It's got a lot of good knowledge in there. And I know You expect me to beg for your likes and subscriptions and your shares, where you can like, share, and subscribe to my ass. I don't need you. I don't need anybody. Just be cool, man. Just be cool. Don't be a dick. I love you guys. I'm glad you're here, because you guys are awesome. So I'll see you guys next week, Cheers. I'm going to get this little cherry's been soaking for like an hour. It's going to be delicious. Ow. Oh. Tooth. Oh. Go fish it out. Anybody got a toothpick?